What's up, you guys? Welcome back to another video. Today we are going to be diving into whether or not Rings of Power is actually living up to some of the hype, or is Season 2 actually going to be the downfall and destruction of this series on Amazon Prime. What do you think, brother? Let's dive in.
I like where they're going with this right now, but I still have a lot of unanswered questions. Adar is surprising me. Did I say his name right?
Yep.
Adar is surprising me. Like, he wants Sauron to end. He wanted to do this whole peace thing with a Galadriel, and it's almost like he's pulling back from that for his selfish want of killing Sauron.
Is it selfish, though? Because the whole reason he wants to kill Sauron is because he understands that he is the master of manipulation. He's the master of controlling others. And the orcs are incredibly susceptible as the entire race. Like, he took over them. Well, Morgoth did, but Sauron tried to as well. And so I think that the character of Adar is playing the role of father, which is why they call him that.
Yes.
Which is, I don't want my children to be manipulated, controlled, or, you know, basically sent to cannon fodder for someone else's cause. And so I'm going to do what it takes to make sure that threat is eliminated. I do agree he's losing a little bit of the reason why he's doing it, because he is sending the same children into slaughter to achieve that goal. But I think ultimately it came from a place of, like, love and like, care.
Yeah, I see that also. But do you also think that maybe he messed up Adar when he didn't heed her warning? She's like, Galadriel.
Yeah.
Right? So she's like, you don't want to be sending them there. You're falling right into what he wants.
Yeah, no, and I agree with you on that, because there's a one part where Adar is talking to Galadriel. I think it might be a scene from a previous episode, actually. But he's talking to her about, I think it's when he was captive, how he can get his ties into you. And basically, like, worms his way into your mind. And before you know it, you're doing his bidding, but you think you're doing your own.
Yes.
And so that could very well be, you know, Adar is on this righteous cause, but actually it's Sauron's plan all along.
Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah.
They're foreshadowing that, like, freaking crazy.
Yeah.
For me, it as the viewer, it's like, dude, stop messing up. You're screwing up. Don't do that. Again, we have the sight of everything else that's going on in the story too as the viewer.
Yeah.
So we kind of know these things. It's like watching a horror movie and you're surprised when everyone else is freaked out and like, it's the same old, right? Like, why are you scared at this point? The dumb woman trips, falls, and just crawls away and attempts to fight, but ultimately loses.
Yeah,
right?
Entire intro to the original Scary Movie just dogs on that so hard, because it's just such a trope in that freaking genre. But yeah.
That's what they're doing here, though.
Yeah.
They're doing the exact same thing with Adar.
You think so?
Yes.
Yeah.
He is the helpless blonde.
Interesting. Okay. So let's go back to the beginning of episode 6. So we're back on some of the side quests again, as I call it. Some of the subplot.
I guess that's a good way of putting it, for sure.
Yeah, because to me, you know, I think Galadriel, Sauron, and even Elrond, like that kind of, those guys, those three, are kind of like the main characters that are having like the big quests that are going on. And then you have these other characters who are kind of like sub-quests, where the wizard, who may be Gandalf, may not be Gandalf, his is kind of building up. But even, you know, even that's been so minuscule this season.
It's Gandalf.
I heard a pretty cool theory also we can dive into later about who the dark wizard could be. The one that's rising in the east in Rune. That, you know what I'm talking about? The one you thought was Sauron last time we chatted. They have a theory online of who he might be, and that's interesting. I would like to see that actually be kind of real.
What's that theory?
So as far as like wizards in Middle Earth, there's only 5 of them, right? So there's Saruman, there's Gandalf, who we know of, there's Radagast. So we met all 3 of them on screen. But there's also the 2 blue wizards that we've never met before. I talked about it in a previous episode. I was really hoping that this Gandalf character would be one of them, because we've never seen them before. But in the lore, it is said that the 2 blue wizards failed in their missions. So there's a theory that they basically started their own like wizard cults and like had their own followings, and it kind of went evil, kind of like what Saruman does in the 2 Towers. And so there's a theory that the guy, Dark Wizard in Rune, is actually one of the fallen blue wizards.
That would make sense, because when he is talking to what I think of as a druid, but he's actually an angel, I guess, right?
Talking about Tom Bombadil?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He mentioned to what we think is Gandalf that, yeah, someone else had done this recently and failed and didn't pass the test. And they kind of leave you hanging on that one episode where he's like, look, you're either going to make the right decision or you're not.
Yeah.
And then he just, poof, vanishes.
Yeah, I think it's kind of cool they're using him as a mentor for him, because, you know, that's new with the show. And so really cool, like, interesting way it kind of like bleeds into the Gandalf we know from Lord of the Rings, the Peter Jackson version, because like even some of the same quotes that Tom is saying now to hit this character who is the stranger, Gandalf repeats later, right? And to like the hobbits and stuff. So interesting stuff going on there. We also have Numenor still going on. We've got last episode we had them backstab Homeboy, which we were both pissed off about, but we knew was coming. As soon as he filled up the whole screen and we knew the guy was behind him, I was like, he's about to die. And sure enough, right through the back. And then, shoot, what is his name? Not Isildur, because that's his son, but Isildur's father. Arendir? Nope, that's the elf. Too many names in my head right now. Anyway, he goes on trial, right? They put him on trial, and the king thinks he's got him for a second, thinks he's going to denounce it, and then he's like, no, screw you, there's only one true queen. But then they do something that's kind of like a twist that actually works out in his favor, and instead of just sentencing him to death or execution, they're like, no, we'll let the gods sort you out, which was kind of cool. I thought that was an interesting, like almost like in and Game of Thrones, where Tyrion Lannister gets trial by combat, and you're like, oh, nice, he may actually survive, because they were about to kill him too. But anyway, I thought it was awesome that the blind queen steps up and actually takes the so-called execution from the gods in his favor, like in his name. Mm-hmm. And then the gods were like, no, we kind of like you. And you get to see the same sea creature that was in, I think it was episode 2 of season 1, when they're floating on the rafts, Halbrand and Galadriel.
How do they make that connection?
I believe it's the same creature. It's almost cool. Identical looking. Yeah, because when Halbrand faces it, had face on, right, and it stops, it's almost like he like controls it, because Sauron doesn't have that ability. It looks exactly like that same creature, almost like shot for shot, almost identical to when she's floating in front of it too, other than there's no wreckage around. So I thought it was the same creature. Let us know in the comments, is that the same sea beast, sea snake, whatever it is? That I think it is.
You say sea snake, and then brought me right back to Game of Thrones. Yeah, true queen.
Mm-hmm. It backfired. His son, so it turns out, because we think that maybe his son going out there is part of his plan. Like Fair's a so-called king right now in Numenor. You kind of think that the way he talks to his son in that episode, that like he wanted his son to kind of go trash the temple and do the things that he was doing. But then during that exact scene we were just talking about, he says to him, you've done enough. So to me, that makes it lean more towards the son was acting on his own, like just doing kind of his own rogue thing. And
the father's just covering for him out of fatherly duty.
Well, yeah, but also like pissed off at him because it's the beginning of the end for him now, right? Because now all the faithful are pissed because they destroyed their temple, they killed the guy, they're doing all these different things. And so I think that's the beginning of the end for him, and he realizes that, and he's like, all right, you've done enough. Now we're stuck in damage control mode. The trial and all of that happens in episode 6.
Oh, damn. See, for me, the focus of episode 6, in my mind, what I left with was just Adar and Galadriel. That was the big focus for me.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, Galadriel is she's the main quest, right? So it's like kind of the thing we focus on, but there was a lot of moving pieces in that one, where in the one we just watched, I watched it this morning, the main focus is like the Battle of Eregion, right? Mm-hmm. Which is like...
And the veil being lifted from the forger. Blacksmith.
Yeah. Celebrimbor's mind has been released from the fantasy that Sauron had him trapped in. So yeah, it brings us up to the fact that we realize that, oh crap, this whole time we've been wrong a little bit, and well, not us, but the elves have been wrong a little bit. They thought they needed to go attack Mordor. They were getting ready to go attack Mordor, and then, can't think of his name for a second, Elrond shows up and is like, hey, they're not going to Mordor. They're actually already attacking Eregion. We got to go help our people. And then he turns to Doran too and gets Doran's help, which I thought that was really cool, that he's like, hey, nice to see you. We're actually about to go overthrow my dad. How you doing? Yeah.
And that king fucked up a lot of shit. His greed is like unfiltered right now.
Yeah.
Like it is absolutely insane that the kind man that, kind dwarf that he used to be is like no longer there, and everyone is starting to realize it.
Yeah.
Like even his most loyal people have turned over and like, look, we're with you, dude. We're with you. Your dad's lost his damn mind.
Yeah.
And then as they're getting ready to march out to go help Elrond, his dad just goes crazy. It's like Sauron knows everything that's going on. It's just like, hey, go start playing over here. Go start killing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, in episode 6, when Sauron shows up in Khazad-dûm for the Mithril, he sees the Balrog in the flames, and that's as soon as he sees that, he stops fighting. He just like, I respect your decision, and leaves, because he knew, he's like, it's only a matter of time before this whole place is in fire and ruin, because he knew the path that king was on with that ring that he had corrupted.
So towards the end of the episode, they were starting to leave off quite a bit with the ranger, I call him. I don't.
Arondir?
Yeah. The guy that I can't tell whether he's 25 or 45.
Yeah.
No idea. Probably works in their favor as an elf, right? But he is consumed by hate.
Well, he lost the woman of like the love of his life, right? And
I understand that.
the person he was trying to, like, he promised he would look after, wants something to do with them. So he's like, feels like he's completely failed. He's lost everything, which is what he says. He's taken everything from me.
And he's letting them take everything else away from him too, because he is pretty much on the suicide mission and doesn't.
Well, he was, until Galadriel stops him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so now we have this big battle that has been going on for 1.5 episodes, I guess.
Well, the battle itself is just started this episode. Like, it starts with the beginning of the episode, the siege itself.
Well, everything's leading up to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what was that giant troll thing?
Forget his name. He's the one that, like, they fight at the end of the episode.
Yeah.
Yeah. I forget his name. It starts with a G or something like that. But he's, in a previous episode in this season, he walks to the orc camp, and Uruk father welcomes him in and, like, welcomes to the ranks of, like, the fight. But you don't ever see him again until the very end here. But I forget his name. He has a significant name. He's like a badass troll.
Yeah, freaking massive, and took a lot to bring his ass down. But I thought that was pretty cool. Elrond is showing a whole lot more fight than I was expecting in the physical sense.
Yeah, yeah. And then they call him out a lot for being a scholar. Like, they did it multiple times in the episode.
I noticed.
And he's just like, you don't know me, dude. He's like, that was pretty cool. He's like, you've never seen me wield either.
But they left it off where I was just like, God damn it, I knew this was going to be the end because it was too perfect. I want to see what's next.
Yeah, well, yeah, we got coming into the season finale next. So next week we will get the finale for season 2. It was really cool to finally see the King of the Elves fight too. He's a badass with that spear. That was cool. Yeah, I think all in all, they gave us a worthy battle for the series. I mean, the Battle of Eregion was good. It wasn't, Helm's Deep, that was probably one of the greatest battles. Or Battle of 5 Armies and the Hobbits was really good too. I think I like the way they did that, even though they that wasn't really in the Hobbit. It was just like a quick mention in the Hobbit. They took the whole thing and brought it in, which I thought was awesome.
And they mentioned something about 1,200 completely unique costumes for the orcs. And
Yeah.
Did you see that?
If you notice, they're very distinct. Like, all the orcs, because the battle itself was so well choreographed and so well done, because all the elves are completely ironclad from head to toe, and then you have these orcs who are like in mismatched armor and there's different different styles, so you can clearly tell, like, on the battlefield what's going on. It's not just these two armored up things clashing. And I just thought it was like really well, like, as far as costumes, like the battle scenes themselves, what they chose to highlight, how I think well done, executed well.
Prime is doing really well with their series.
Yeah.
Like, they're getting ready to release a RoboCop 2, by the way. That should be interesting. With the budget that they have now, they are really impressing me with the quality of their content, because it feels like just a whole bunch of long movies, and I love that. That's why I like series.
Yeah.
I feel like they don't have to eliminate all the things that they originally had to, and we brought that up, or I brought that up not too long ago with the eye part, right?
Yeah.
So Peter Jackson kind of threw that in just as a way to help the audience see things, and then this new version is completely removed that fallacy that was put into the mind of everyone that was pissed off before about it, but now kind of forgot about it, and here we are. So all in all, I'm enjoying this ride for sure.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, you know, a adaptation of a book to film does not, in my opinion, have to be like word for word, spot for spot. I think when a director like Peter Jackson takes the liberties to personify Sauron with like almost a lighthouse style eye rather than him just being the essence of him, was a great call. I think it added to the movie, didn't take away from it at all. And so I think that's why we as a culture just moved past it. We were like, yeah, okay, cool, we got it, that's cool. Yeah. You know, it added to it. So it was like, and I think Prime, to add to your point, is doing a really good job with their series of doing that, especially their adaptations. They're taking what we kind of know and love, but they're twisting it just enough so that it's their own, and that we can kind of still love it and move forward with it. And I'm really loving that. Let's talk about Sauron real quick though, because I think of all the, like, Charlie Vickers is like stealing the show with his performance as Sauron right now. The way he like manipulates his face, in one minute he's like bright light, and the next minute he's just like, you know, you could tell he's like pure evil. And the way he manipulates and just kind of has been like the puppet master, I think has been really cool to see. Because, you know, Sauron's just kind of like a mist or an eye in a lot of like Lord of the Rings, but you're actually seeing the master at work right now. And I think that's kind of been really cool. What is your take?
I still see him as Lucifer personified for this.
Yeah, 100%.
Like,
I made that case the first time you said it, yeah.
But for me, he's doing great for an act. The character is definitely someone that you fucking hate, but that's the point,
yes.
And it's great. Yep. So you love him for what he's doing with that character for sure. I'm rooting for his death, that's all.
Well, we know.
I know.
We already know where that's going to go based on the other movies and books and stuff we've had the liberties of watching or reading. But I think that it was, how can I explain it? The connection between like Satan and Sauron is like really masterfully done. And I think that like being the great deceiver and giving you what you think you want, but ultimately leading you down the path that he wants as well, those connections are all right there. And it really, for me, when he was able to completely just like dismantle Celebrimbor's status and reputation with a flick of a wrist without anybody even noticing, and made Celebrimbor look like he had killed one of his apprentices there. I thought that was like just so masterful. I was like, geez, this dude, like he's embodying this essence of deceiver.
That kind of pissed me off because he had just told her that she was going to get what she truly deserved.
She did.
Right?
In his eyes.
Yes, I know, but I feel like there's more to it. Like, my mind's like, what she truly deserved. Did she truly deserve that, though?
In his eyes, everything's less inferior to him, right? Because he is an angel, basically, in this universe. And so his goal is peace through absolute control and obedience, right? Like that's my understanding based on what he's been saying in these last couple episodes, is he wants to recreate the world in his idea of peace, which is basically like he just controls everything.
Authoritarianism.
Yeah. And I think that anything that goes against that, stops that, or even rubs against it in the wrong way, it's dead to him.
I would agree with that for sure.
Yeah. I'm excited for the season finale, closing out this huge battle that we got. Obviously, it'll be the last thing we get in season 2. And I'm just really interested to see, now that the 9 rings are done, Khazad-dûm's about to fall, Eregion is in, ashes, what happens next? So let us know what you guys think in the comments below. What are your predictions? Let us know, what do you think of these 2 episodes? Did you like them? Didn't you like them? What are you thinking of the season? Love to hear you guys engage in the comments below. All right, guys. Well, if you're just now finding us, go ahead and check out some of the previous episodes that we've done for the Rings of Power series. Also, you can check out one of our most watched videos right here. Also, a hot Netflix series that we kind of share our real world take on. We were huge fans of it, but maybe not towards the end. You'll find out. Check out the video, and we'll see you guys on that video. Peace.
Find the strength hiding in each battle scar. You're not who you were. You've already come far.